Hey, welcome to my channel. I am going to do a bit of show and tell today. I'm in front of my little 3D printing setup here because I would like to share how I set this up so that my 3D printer runs off of a Raspberry Pi. I'm going to be talking about the physical side today, show how I actually tinkered this together physically. But if you've already guessed that I'm probably doing some kind of an Octoprint implementation, which is for running 3D printers off of Raspberry Pi, you're correct. That's exactly what I did. Although I am doing it, or the approach to it that I chose is running it through something called Simplyprint, which is a Danish platform that I found and I thought I'd like. Looked great, which is based on Octoprint, and I've been running it for a while and I'm very happy with it. So, but I won't go into the software or platform side of it too much today. That's just to say, yes, I'm running it off of a version of Octoprint. Anyway, I want to show you how I did practically with this. The short story is this was running off of my old MacBook Pro, which in this case means a very old MacBook Pro. I think it's 2010. It's old, 10 or 12, and obviously a machine like that is going to be at the end of its lifetime. And I was starting to think, what do I want to do next? Because you can always get a 3D file for printing onto a machine like this. It has a micro SD slot and it works fine, obviously. But I don't think that's elegant. I don't like having to plug in the micro SD and get it out and put it into the other computer and there's a little adapter. I don't think that's smooth. And I also, sort of acquiescing to my nerdy self-image, I also wanted something that was a little nerdier, a little more appropriate to the persona that I like to think of myself as, I guess. So I wanted something that was a little more sophisticated, and I wanted this to be on my home network and be able to fetch files off of my home cloud and stuff like that. So that's sort of where I came at, or how I came at it. And I started doing research and discovered obviously that it was possible to set up a Raspberry Pi to run a 3D printer. I've been curious about Pi for a long time. I think it's cool, this idea of a tiny little, very affordable computer that can do almost anything. But I'm not very computer savvy in that sense at all. So after finding out that it was possible, I had to find out if I thought I could do this with my limited skill set. And so my research showed me, yeah, I was confident enough that I would be able to do this. That looked realistic. So I dove in. I acquired Pi Zero, which I was reliably informed would do the job. And I flashed the Simplyprint setup onto it, and that was surprisingly easy. I mean, that was pretty smooth. I was impressed by that. That was a breeze. But anyway, next step, obviously, now that I had this the technology working, where to put it physically, what to do with it physically. And my first approach, the first thing I did was just keep it really simple. So I went on to Thingiverse and I found the simplest Zero case that I could find, and I modified it a little bit to suit my preferences. And then I printed that up. And my idea was to just Velcro it down on the shelf in the back here, or sort of out of the way. And right away, that presented me with a couple of problems, or that solution, the initial dead simple solution, presented me with a couple of problems that I had to solve. So the first of them was the Velcro idea didn't work well enough. I mean, maybe it's because the case is too small, at least for the Velcro that I had, but I couldn't get like a solid grip. It was sort of wobbly. It wasn't, it wasn't firm. And also making it worse in more ways than one, the only way to switch off a Raspberry Pi is to pull the plug on it. And besides wiggling the Velcro even more loose every time I did that, that also just isn't elegant. It can damage the machine, and just pulling the plug that's not how you do things. So I realized that I had to get on the internet again and do some more research, because I had to find out how you go about putting a power switch on a Raspberry Pi. I was obviously, I realized that I wasn't the first person in the world who wanted to do this. So I was sure there was a solution, but I had to find out if it was something that I'd be able to do, again, with my limited skill set in the area. So I did some research again, and I found a guide which seemed like something that I could do. It actually looked pretty simple. And I also found out that I determined that I could find this little switch that this required, because I know that getting a switch isn't just like, you can get that wrong, because there are so many ways that switches can function. Always open and double throw, double pull, all of these technical ways that switches can function. And if you get the wrong kind, your thing just won't work. But I could find it, and I could get it nearby, which was convenient, and it was the right form factor. So that was great. I acquired that, and I whipped out my soldering iron. Again, not particularly skilled at this, but I managed to solder on the switch per the guide and do all the other stuff in it. And I took it for a test, and it worked. It just worked the first time, and I was so happy. I felt like swordfish. I had really taken my tech savvy up a notch there, I felt. So yeah, that tech side of it actually went pretty smoothly. I was happy about that. So finally, I had the tech right, but I needed to do the final physical installation. So what to do with that? And by this time, I had finally remembered that these 3D printers, this kind of 3D printer, is made out of this wonderful extruded aluminum profiling, which is built for attaching stuff to it. That's what it does. So yeah, obviously I should attach my little Pi case to it as well. I'd say it was a no-brainer, but apparently it wasn't, because it took me a while to think of it. But yeah, that's what I was going to do. So I got out the very simple case that I downloaded and modified, and I modified it some more. I basically just pulled and tugged on it and remodeled it until I felt that I had the smallest case possible that would still comfortably and reasonably accommodate the switch. And I also did the necessary enhancements to it to make it fit onto the aluminium profile and be affixed with a T-nut. And all that remained was printing it up, putting the Pi inside of it, and mounting it all and hooking it up. And what do you know? That's it. That's what I've got here now, and I'm actually very happy with it. I'm a little bit proud too, which is obviously why I'm doing this show and tell about it. That's the hardware side of it, and that's what I wanted to show today. So if anyone wants me to talk a little bit more about the platform side, I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments down here. I will in the description will be all the relevant links, the guides, the hardware that I've been using. I have a pin shape where you can find the case and download that for printing up. Yeah, that's it for this show and tell. Thank you very much for watching, for joining me, and I'll see you next time.